Hi, my name is Ellie Fitzpatrick and this is my professional development practice presentation. I will be running this in 3 sections. Section 1, where I am now and how that's changed. Section 2, where I want to be now. And Section 3, how I'm going to get there. Enjoy. By the time that I left college, I was completely fixated on their idea of focusing on film and TV acting. However, the course that I'd been taking so far at college and extracurricular stuff was mainly focused on theatre. I really enjoyed theatre, but what I wanted to aim towards was film and TV acting. By the time that I left college, I was completely fixated on their idea of focusing on film and TV acting. However, the course that I'd been taking so far at college and extracurricular stuff was mainly focused on theatre. I really enjoyed theatre, but what I wanted to aim towards was film and TV acting. The likes of David Tennant on TV was what really got me into the idea that this is what I want to do, this is why I want to act. So going forward with that,
thought at the time that
going to university was the best way to pursue that. Even if I went to university and did a theatre specialised course like I did do, I thought that heading to university would introduce me to the industry. I'd still end up having modules on film and TV, I'd be introduced to the names, I'd get to know the right people, and I'd be taught how to act at a better standard than what I already was at. No idea that going to university would open my eyes to such an incredible kind of world. First of all, moving to Wales was a complete culture shock. I had no idea that it would be so different. But I think in a way that sort of helped me. It really opened me up to the idea of change. Like I've previously just said, up until this point I'd mainly done theatre, but going to university really taught me how much bigger theatre is and how much of a wider scope it can enable you to have. I mean, by the end of my first year, I was talking to fellow student Charlotte that I wanted to have my own theatre company, which if you'd asked me at the beginning of my first year, I definitely would have been against. Now I'm at the point where I want to create my own work, I want to tour theatre, I want to build my company. I still very much want to do film and TV, but I also want to do the likes of radio. My entire spectrum of what I wanted to do has completely opened up. And that links me on to section 2. First of all, I wanted to have my own company. When working with Hannah McPake on my touring module, we created our own piece and toured it around to different audiences. I realised how much I loved making my own work and being able to share that with an audience. And touring in itself, you get a completely different audience each time, so you never really know what you're expecting, so it kind of feels like a completely different show each time. Speaking with Hannah McPake, we discussed how she created her own work and took it to different venues, which really solidified my idea that you can create your own work, something that you really enjoy and are really passionate about, and take it out there. Also, by having your own company, you can make connections with venues like the Sherman Theatre, and with directors like Joe Murphy, you can make close connections with other writers. You can get into other places like The Other Room and put on frequent shows there. I really like the idea that you can make those connections within the industry and have such a solid line with them. It really shows how together this whole industry is, and I really like that feeling of community. As I've discussed in my PdP portfolio, Charlotte and I really decided what our company meant to us. We came up with a logline and an elevator pitch to really describe what our work intends to do. We want to create work that's about the working class, that shows you a different point of view, tells you that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. We want it to really mine into the ideas that people don't always expect to see. Speaking with Hannah McPake, David Metzcali and Rebecca Hammond, it really showed me that making your own work is worth it. You can take something out there and it's yours and you're sharing it. And even if it's a lot of hard work, even if sometimes it doesn't always bring you the best income, it is worth it because it's you getting out there. Moving on to writing. I've always loved writing. Even in high school, I used to love writing little stories. And then when I came to university and Charlotte and I began discussing what if we made our own work, what if we did something that was by us, I kind of had the idea, well, why don't I write something? I enjoy it so much, why don't I just give it a bit of a bash? I'm really enjoying the layout and structure of a scripted play and started to get really invested into it and thought maybe this is something I can focus on. Throughout my time at university, I've met a lot of different writers, Kieran himself, Heffin Robinson, Ella Maxwell, Joe Murphy. And through speaking to them all, I've realised how much I really do love writing. I've had many tips from them. I've spoke about it in my PdP portfolio, how much I've enjoyed working with them. I mean, Heffin Robinson, who I met through Hannah McPake, really sat me down and talked about the enjoyments of it and how to move through things and work on your characters. Joe Murphy really focused on the structures of plays. Ella Maxwell showed me that mistakes can be made and that's perfectly normal. There's different ways to do it. R&Ds are a brilliant way to involve people into your work and try and prove it. Film and TV. During the film and TV module that we did with Kieran and Lloyd, I found that I really enjoyed TV acting. There's a heavier level of detail that you get to perform, whereas on stage people aren't always going to see that, but in camera you zoom into the face and you see every little change. I really enjoyed that because there was a nicer subtlety to it that you could really focus in on. At this point, I've now done a number of short films, some through the university, some from back home. I really enjoyed having this group of people, having a director, someone on camera, someone on sound, the other actors around you. Having that group of people and you can be in the tiniest of spaces, and by the end, through the camera, it looks like you're in a huge field. I really enjoyed that there's that level of imagination and creativity that you can get through film, the illusions that you can create with it. And finally, radio. I really enjoyed the work that we did on radio during the film and TV module. I like the fact that nobody's seeing your face, you have to put all of your intonations, you have to express everything through just your voice. I've always had an interest in voice actors in games and animation. I think it's really amazing how the voice is really what brings a character to life. As mentioned in my PdP portfolio, I've been looking further into how to get radio work or voice work. Something I really enjoyed was something called Voice Extra, which, as mentioned in my PdP, you could download sort of interviews with different people and I could listen to them on the go, whatever I was doing. A lot of the interviews that I listened to discussed the difficulties of getting into the industry, but also how once you're in there, it's something that's like no other. You can end up sitting there for hours repeating the same line in several different ways to make sure that the director and the creators have absolutely everything they could need. I really like that because I think in theatre you have one shot and one shot only to get it right. In film and TV you're working with other people and you're bouncing off each other. Whereas in radio, you're more often than not, you're on your own saying this line in as many ways as you can be. Some of them can be absolutely ridiculous and you can just have a lot of fun with it. For starters, with my company, as stated in my PdP, Charlotte and I had decided that we wanted to take a show to Edinburgh Fringe, but as stated in my PdP, after COVID, everything began to be cancelled. Charlotte and I decided that it would be best to wait and get a better grounding for our company before we took anything up there. We wanted to get in touch with more venues and start to get a stance for our company. After having an interview with Tracy Gillard, it was really useful to hear her views on it. Even she suggested that we started to focus on connecting with venues and getting to know people, getting to know directors and writers more, instead of just swinging off to Edinburgh, because a lot of people aren't going to see something when they don't even recognise the name. There's people like Joe Murphy from The Sherman or Matthew Holmquist from The Other Room. There's other companies like Chippy Lane that's got Rebecca Hammond involved and Hannah Noon. I think it would be really valuable for us to stay in contact with those people to start building something, to build something for our company. Other than that, the best thing that we should be doing to take our company forward is staying active on social media. I said this a lot in my PdP. It's really valuable to get your name out there, to constantly be active, to being involved with other people, to make sure that people start to get to know your name as a company. And then, of course, keep creating new work. Even if we're putting a show on in a cafe or out on the streets or in a small venue, as long as we keep creating new work and putting ourselves out there, we'll slowly bring ourselves up to making bigger things. And that leads me on to writing. The simple thing that I've been told by a lot of writers is just to keep writing. The best way to stay involved with it and to create brilliant new works is to keep at it. Even if you write something that's pretty bad and you think, I'm probably never going to use this, keep writing so your mind's constantly chugging out ideas. I have notes on my phone, I'm constantly writing down story ideas and script ideas that I think this could be useful in the future. Another thing is to keep entering competitions. I entered the BBC comedy competition and I'll find the results out this month hopefully. As stated in my PdP, I found a lot of things through Twitter and Facebook and looking it up online. Entering competitions is a good way to get my name out there as a writer. Even if I don't win, it's a good experience, and if I do win, I'm starting to get my feet on the ground. Then we have film and TV. The obvious choice is to try get in contact with an agent, follow different agencies, keep an eye on Spotlight, and keep an eye out for auditions and things that I can audition for. The tricky situation with the agencies and such right now is that during COVID, not a lot of them are welcoming new talent. However, I have been in contact with a few and I'm getting involved with people to make sure that, they know my name, that I am getting out there. So when I contact them again, they might remember, hey, this is the girl that messaged before, this shows that she's serious about this, and they're more likely to take me on. Another thing is that I need to start getting my show reel done. Before COVID all happened, I was in contact with the workshop in Cardiff, which was going to give me some more specialised training in film and TV acting. They're going to help me create a show reel, which is something that's important for people to sort of look at you and see how you act on camera. The workshop in Cardiff is really reputable. I've looked at a lot of the reviews and I've seen some of the work they produce. I really want to be involved with it. I'm still in contact with the guy in charge and we've sort of discussed how after COVID, once I move back down to Cardiff, I'll try again, I can get into there and I can have my private training and create my show reel to put out there so I can get more work from it. And lastly, radio. Again, as I've said in my PdP, I listed a few of the voice sites. There's, voices.com. which is where I would put on my voice reel, so then people that are looking for work can go on there. It's like an agency for the voice world. Also, to keep listening to things like Voice Extra that are actually really helping me to stay involved and to stay connected with that kind of industry. By creating my voice reel, which I have prepared and you can see in my PdP, I'll be able to put it on there and get straight into it. My only difficulty at the moment is that they specify that it has to be of high quality audio, and I currently don't have any equipment to record that. I am hoping, however, that once I return to Cardiff, I'll be in contact with my friends that are still at the university that are doing the film courses, who were originally going to help me out creating a voice reel, and I can kind of visit the university and use them to sort of use the good equipment to get it done, and I won't have to pay a lot for it. Overall, I think that the most important thing to make sure that my career goes forward is staying connected and staying involved, making sure that I'm making every progress I can to move back to Cardiff to carry on my dream of becoming an actor, and that is how I'm going to get out there.